The Chiefs weren't done after free agency week 1, bringing in more key pieces and former stars. They also created cap space to do so. We get into that next on Gridiron Gambit.
Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to this Red Kingdom media production, bringing you raw, authentic Chiefs coverage. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on your team. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Let's work. Hey.
Welcome to this special Friday live afternoon edition of Gridiron Gambit. We are your co-hosts for today, Clinton and Dale. We are here to kind of fill the gap. It's been a little while since we've had an episode, and some more, low-key minor moves have trickled in that the Chiefs have done, and we've just kind of been sitting on it for a while. And it's a Friday afternoon. I'm sure you guys are enjoying your March Madness or, working. But we're here to kind of give you a nice sports distraction. So I'll stop belaying it so we can get Dale unmuted to give his thoughts. How are you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing good. I was definitely excited and ready to, of course, jump in and talk about these things. It really didn't cause for us to have an immediate reaction to it, right? This is some of the things that we were hoping and expecting to happen at some point. So, it's a good time, I feel, to talk about it, let it all settle in, because we're at a point now where a lot of people will say the Chiefs are ready to go into the draft. It's nothing much that you really can do. So.
No doubt. And I think, that first initial surge of free agency hit, we had our breaking news come out about the trades and the two major signings a couple weekends ago. And then after that, it was, a couple here and there. Talked about Jalen Moore, which you are very high on and have a lot of expectations for this year. But other than that, it didn't really seem like the Chiefs were going to be doing a lot of moves. And, basically the last part of the last episode we did, I had basically stated that the thing that needed to happen was, in fact, our first topic of the day and what we are going to talk about first. And that is the restructure relief. We heard the rumblings that these were going to happen, but they hadn't happened yet. But just last week, the Kansas City Chiefs had made the money moves necessary to give them some cap relief. I think at the time it was about $50 million. Some money has obviously been handed over since then, so we'll have to see as we approach draft what the refined numbers are. But all that after being the main stage of free agency, the big key free agent signings like we discussed earlier. So what are your thoughts about the restructures, and do you think that any of this has any present time efforts, or do you think this is mainly about the future?
Well, with those restructures that happened, it was to create cap space, right? Because we had to be at under the cap at a certain time. So I think overall, this was just to put us in a good position to where, hey, if we wanted to use that per se, that credit card that we can use where you can go over the cap a little bit to get some of these deals done, that's what the Chiefs was able to do. But they also were able to get under the cap at a certain time like they were supposed to, required by the league. And I think that's why they went ahead and restructured guys like Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. We expected this already. And this is something that I said on previous, social media platforms where I advocated and said, like, hey, this is something that's more than likely going to happen. And this has known to happen, too, in a year that we either lose the Super Bowl or we lost early in the play. Well, not early in the playoffs, but in the AFC Championship game where Mahomes came back in because he has that contract to where, let's go ahead and move this money around. Go ahead and give me that little bonus. Let's go ahead and get that out the cap hit. Let's go ahead and move some things back and restructure it, because this is a guy that we already know that's our franchise quarterback. That's why that deal was structured like that. Everyone who said that was a bad deal at the time, well, we are 3 Super Bowls in. We're restructuring more money to create cap space, and we were able to sign guys like Nick Bolton and also be able to franchise tag Trey Smith as well. So with guys like Omenihu and we'll talk about those later on, being able to sign back with Kansas City. This is what the restructures were able to do. So it did give us a chance to also sign what we talked about in the last episode, Christian Fulton, a cornerback that's going to be needed, someone who we expect to come in as the third option. And it's just allowing us to be able to do more going into the draft as well, because, you know, you got a certain cap space for them that is already set up. So Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes is always a great thing to happen. You also could have done something probably with Travis Kelce contract as well too. People may mention of that, but he deserves it. Go, let him get his money this time. Y'all can do it, Chris Jones. That's why we gave you this mega extension and made you the highest paid defensive tackle, just due to the fact that we know that you want to stay in Kansas City. You're going to meet your incentives requirements, right? You're going to play the percentage of snaps that you're supposed to. We know y'all going to make the money. What it does is just that cap hit number, it doesn't look bad for those few years. We're able to, of course, add to that roster as we're going forward, as we're going on, to keep on to fill in the holes that we need. And now we're in a position now where we're going to talk about with the upcoming signings that we didn't have. We can go in the draft and really be like, okay, let's go ahead and take them. Because a lot of people are going to be mad when I say this. I'm all in on Jalen Moore. Forget it. Y'all can go trip about left tackle. We need some more depth in general. But you was behind Trent Williams. We got guys like Lonnie who are part of the platform as well too. It's like, bro, we need to go ahead and get a left tackle. We need somebody official. We should have got something done with Orlando Brown. I'm gonna flat out say it. Because what we're going through, that put us in another hole. We, had that Band-Aid that you talked about with doing that, just slapping it on. We need to set ourselves up for the future where we don't have these type of issues and we're worried about, who are we going to pay this time? Are we going to pay the money to the right person? It's time to go ahead and bet on somebody, because Mahomes and Chris Jones, they're just getting older. And it's only so much you can do when you're restructuring their contract, because Mahomes cap hip numbers the next few years that's coming up, and y'all know how long he's been in the league as well too. We're already through most of his contract, that 10-year deal, and then they had to go back in and restructure this well too. We know eventually they might try to be like, okay, let's just tear this up and just go ahead and do a whole new one that makes sense for the best quarterback in the league. He's going to be compensated well, but that's what his contract does. That's when you have a franchise quarterback like Mahomes. That's why you're able to play with their money like that. They're going to earn it. They're going to get it. And especially the years that we have won as well too. Each year that we won a Super Bowl, Mahomes, we didn't do nothing with his contract. And we had guys come back again and work with the money that we had, and we were still able to get back there. You're supposed to set yourself up for the future, right? You're supposed to take advantage of those opportunities to keep on growing with those rosters. And we just found a quarterback that we can do so. We found our Tom Brady. But now it's going to come to a time. Going to have to probably rip it up eventually a little bit later on, but this restructure for now makes sense. So I'm all good with it. I'm okay.
The funniest part about that, before I get my take, is the idea that at some point Mahomes has, like, at this point, $80 million, or probably be close to $100 million at some point in a year that never happens, pushed into the future. So just that idea that, like, one year Mahomes is going to get $100 million from the Chiefs directly is quite a visual. I threw Travis Kelce on the thumbnail. I feel like he deserved it. I don't know if he restructured, but he was in the presence of the restructures. I thought maybe he does a little bit. I don't know. But Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes, the two leaders on this team, offensive and defensive leaders, willing to make a little bit of sacrifice. Obviously, Mahomes is the one that we always kind of anticipate. And the Chris Jones one was kind of just a nice gesture, I think. And being the player he is, we just gave him a 5-year contract last year. He knows that we care about him long term, and so we can avoid sitting in the stands for games from now on. For me, it's a question of why wasn't this one of the, like, priority 2 moves once you made your, like, internal signings and franchise tags for Trey Smith. Why did the Chiefs choose to make these moves so much further into the league year instead of having those moves pushed up early, and then maybe would have given you a better chance at, maybe giving Cleveland a call and convincing Myles Garrett to take your money instead, or any of these other pass rush guys who are just leaving their teams, or the teams they just made an impact from, or some depth behind Chris Jones, or perhaps the best left tackle versus the ones that you hope fits the bill and the budget. It just comes with a question of why these were done now. I know why they were done, period, because the Chiefs had no other choice. They couldn't go into the year, let alone the draft class, with the negative money they had. So I know they had to make moves in some capacity. I just question the timing of it all. And, I'm glad that it was done, because it gives us the ability to talk about some more players that signed or re-signed. But it's puzzling why this wasn't further up the agenda of things needed to be done, because you knew the cap hit that Trey Smith was going to do the second that you said, we'll franchise tag you, so you're accepting to have this much on the books about it. And then you just kind of try to make some free agent moves, and then you look at your bank account and realize, oh, we're in the red. We got to make some phone calls to get that done. So it was the right move, just not quite the right time. I don't think it allowed the Chiefs to be as active in free agency as they would have liked. But maybe in term, and maybe your point might be around this, maybe it allows them to have some future money to make some internal contracts for next year that are going to be high paid, like a Rashee Rice or a Trent McDuffie or something.
Hold on, we're not even talking to Rashee Rice yet. We gotta figure out Trent McDuffie, because DJ Stingley did mess up the market $30 million a year, and if we're gonna have to top that, we're gonna have to figure something out, because it was a good point that came up. You seen the loss of Snead, who was a 4th round pick, who had only one great year. He was good the prior years, because we had Charvarius Ward and other guys. He was the second, he was the second guy, the second corner from there. But the year that he went crazy, he was a number 1 corner at that time for the team, and then he just left. Right? We do that, and we let McDuffie walk. That was going to be trouble. We seen what happened when we had someone fill in with Jalen Watson, who was emerging as well, who played within the scheme a few years ago, was actually a competent cornerback at the cornerback 3 position. It's like, all right, so you lose that. We can't have somebody else walk, right? So we do have to figure it out. So the restructures definitely does help for future money. Now, I will say this too. You're seeing a lot of internal, because sadly, Clinton, we're in a generation where these players, they do not want to go team up. You had people scold LeBron for it. You're having the young guys judge Michael Jordan's success because of Scottie Pippen and the big three that they had. They're trying to prove like, all right, we'll probably have one more superstar, like our best friend or somebody we cool with, or we know we mesh with well, and then we'll go from there. But we didn't beat these guys a lot, and I respect it. Dang, I would love to have a Jamar Chase or still a T. Higgins. The Bengals wasn't going to allow that anyway, though, right? I would love for it, but it's something in their heart that's telling them that, like, hey, we can't. So that's why I think you're seeing these underrated signings that we see, because these guys, they're looking for a home where they can mesh well within. And honestly, we're known for working with above average talent. We got our elite talent with Patrick Mahomes. We wanted our elite talent with him. That's why he has that contract that we can play with all the time. And whatever money that he's going to get, he's getting all of his money. Everybody else can be the top paid average annual salary. He's the richest. He don't care. Like, I worry about being paid the most by year. I got a bag, and they want me for 15 plus.
And so we're willing to make the signings. Like the whole knock about Brett Veach was like, oh, are there certain positions that we're not willing to throw the bag at? I mean, we paid Creed Humphrey. I mean, the best center we've had. We've had 3 really good centers in a row that went on to be the highest paid. And this time she finally pulled the trigger and did it themselves. Trey Smith, we thought was just going to walk out the door because he's a guard. He's 25 years old. He's going to make about $25 million. But you know, guards are a dime a dozen in the NFL draft or off the free agent market. And no, we're going to pay him, and we're going to try to bring him back as long term as possible. So the Chiefs were paying $20 million to a guard just to do the same thing right away. So
and we're drafting the elite talent now. Why let them walk? Just like they didn't want Jamar Chase to walk and T. Higgins to walk, and Myles Garrett didn't want him to leave, even though they're horrible, and they just threw whatever to him. We drafted them. We saw the value, and we want to sign them.
The balance, like the Patriots kind of figured out the perfect balance of figure out the players willing to pay and then willing to walk. I mean, I think the Patriots were way more accepting of just bring in draft class over and over and over again. And I think the Chiefs are saying, okay, but some of these guys become pillars, not just on the team, but in the community. And if the Chiefs Kingdom loves them so much, then they may be worth that little bit of extra money because of what they bring off the field as well.
And we traded Tyreek Hill. If we traded Tyreek Hill, you think we really care? For real. I mean, anybody can walk, but if you're able to make a deal with us, Charles Omenihu, we'll talk about you later, buddy. I said I was on chill. Nah, I ain't. I still got love for you, bro, but you really came on social media doing all that, and look what you came back for. You saw it, you realized you had to come back home, but you know why you came back home? Because I know I'm going to win with them. And then let me go ahead and play a full season and prove that I can do it, because you're still young. But we're going to get deeper into that. I'm not going to go too much into it, but when you have the restructure, I know it seems like we're going everywhere, but it comes back to it. The reason why the praise is going to Mahomes because he came out, he proved himself. He didn't take any endorsements deals. He didn't do anything until he proved his worth with the Kansas City Chiefs. In that second year after he started, he won a Super Bowl, and then guess what they said? We're going to go ahead and give you your money. Brett Beach is not scared to give guys their money or the guys who are worth it. But I also apply him for not holding guys hostage as well too. We wouldn't do what the Cincinnati Bengals did, which put them in cap hell in a situation where they can't do much. I'm not coming for them, the jungle. I'm not doing all that. But truthfully, you got to realize what you're going to get and the talent that you're paying for. You're going to get what you paid for. All right. You got to make a decision. We're going to give him all this money, say like, hey, bro, you really going to make this over 10 years. We're going to be probably one of the richest quarterbacks. But your money, it allows us to move it around, be able to make these moves, and be able to have talent for you where you're still competing for a championship as well, too. The guys who wants to walk, I'm going to have a conversation with you. I want you to know I want to retain you. However, if you're looking for the highest market and you're going for the top value and we can't do it, hey, let us go ahead, Joe Tooney. Instead of us releasing you and taking that dead cap space away, it was minimal, right? Because we wouldn't lose as much. We're going to trade you over to the Bears so they can pay you the full years that you're supposed to get the rest of the years with us. Get all your money. We do business like that, the ones who want to pick it up. And they're going to give us the capital that we need right back. Tyreek Hill the same way as well, too. You made sure you had a deal before you went over there. And we allowed it.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to know what they're going to give us. You can go. So, all in all, that's why we're always in the position that we're in now. And truthfully, the guys we got, I know it seems like we just picked up. You saw what we did last year. Last year, yeah, we can say whatever, they went 15-2. They didn't fall out in every game and made it to the Super Bowl. Yes, it was a blowout in the Super Bowl. However, they was able to fight. It was going to happen eventually. We all said it. We just hate that it happened there. But we was also injured as well, too. Guys came in late didn't get that much rhythm. We want to see what they do a full season on both sides of the ball. Hollywood Brown, Charles Omenihu, all those guys. Rasheed Rice coming back, meshed with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. We feel like we probably would have went undefeated. We probably wouldn't be the first 20-0 team. I might say that because we was really close. We was really close. One game. We basically, the Bills who play us the hardest every time in the regular season, they're going to make sure they win in the regular season, but you see what happened in the playoffs. We beat them at that time. We might be having a different story. We could have been somewhere. We could have been past Miami. They be ready to celebrate every time we lose. Every time a team gets close and they lose. We got it. We got it still. That could have happened. That's why I feel like that's why we're restructuring. Let's go ahead and bring these guys back. Let's go ahead and go at the positions that we needed, first already. Take care of those spots, and we'll be good. We can have the same outcome next season. So, yeah, I know we're ready to get to the next ones.
Yeah, and I think it's good that Mahomes and Chris Jones and the leaders are willing to make that compromise, but they're also getting compensated back. Mahomes has 500 other business ventures. Chris Jones has other things as well. So it's one thing in that regard, but Tom Brady and hopefully these other Chiefs players have these outlets outside of within the locker room of the Chiefs that they can make other capital with and be able to kind of increase their revenue in that way and not need every last dollar squeezed out of the Chiefs in the cap space that way. I mean, Travis Kelce's about to have a podcast empire, and he started out as a 3rd round pick tight end. So
he's an actor now too.
That's right. So if you have the right character and star power, you can find something. And it's just a shame that these moves weren't done a little sooner, because I think maybe Justin Reed could be back on this team. Tershawn Wharton could be back on this team. What you said, if Rashee Rice is healthy, she's go undefeated. I don't think we're having any of these hard conversations. It's like, if you were a player last year, you're coming back. Maybe that re-changes the Joe Tooney conversation. Who knows? But at this point, the Chiefs are going to have to pick up from losing the Super Bowl. And at this point, it's clear that they've got Dale fired up in terms of their moves, and he's ready to talk about the other two. But before we do that, we got to pay some bills. So before we move on to our next topic, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching us there. Give us 5 stars if you listen to us on Spotify. Make sure to rewatch some of our past content. Leave us a like and a comment on the video. Let us know you enjoyed it, or if you have future topics you'd like us to discuss. We also have a Substack. We have an article coming out later this afternoon as Braxton goes through his team builder article series. So if you are a paid Substack member for $5 a month, you'll have access to that. And stay tuned if you are a free subscriber, because we will be starting back up some content later after this off season. So don't think that we left you high and dry out there. Maybe you would like to rep Red Kingdom Media out in public. We've got some shirts that you can purchase. Dale or myself can get an order set up for you if you like shirts. And we'd love to expand our inventory. We just got to see the shirts fly off the shelf, so that way we can get you something else, like a hat or a hoodie or something else. All right, enough of my chit chat about that. Let's go ahead and talk about the meat and potatoes here. Let's talk about our offensive signings. So Kareem Hunt and Juju Smith-Schuster both inked 1-year deals to remain in KC for the 2025 season. What do you make of their return, and what impact will they produce down the stretch?
All right, so for Kareem Hunt and Juju Smith-Schuster, Kareem Hunt, it's going to be a dual back system with him and Isaiah Pacheco. I think they feel like they have something there. And I know a lot of people think that these guys might be the same style of back, but really Pacheco is more explosive and more elusive due to his age and due to his youth and his body style, right? We need him to utilize that a little bit more, because Kareem Hunt is going to be our bruiser. He's going to be the guy on 3rd downs and also in short down and distance, where we know that he can get those tough yards for us. However, he does have that connection and that relationship with Mahomes, where maybe in certain times where we need a drive, when we need, experience out there, he's someone that we can run with, that we know, okay, we can get the same outcome. But Isaiah Pacheco, you need to get back under your feet, because you had that fibula injury, right? You basically had a broken leg. So you had to get back into, your rhythm. I need you to stop going after contact, though. Once you hit that hole and you see that opening, instead of going after it and fighting, just want to put your shoulder at a guy, I need you to try to hit the outside, hit a seam to where you can outrun them. Use that 4.3 speed that you have to go ahead and outrun that defender, so we can go ahead, move down the field, go for a touchdown, however we go about it. But we need that connection that we had, right? Because when we had Jet, when we had Pacheco, and then we also had Clyde as well too, we had 3 different styles of a running back. McKinnon was a guy who was very polished. He is small, he had a lot of finesse within his style. He make it miss. He's very smooth going within his holes. That's what he provided to that offense. And then he was great outside of the backfield with catching the ball as well too, and also can pick up a block. But Checo, you will hit that hole, and you have a lot of bursts, but you was very aggressive. You was very aggressive. You will put a body on the defender, and it's going to wear down that defense. But that's Kareem body style now, and that's what he already does without even trying. So that's going to have to be his lane. And then what Clyde gave us, even though a lot of people don't like him, you saw what he did at LSU. He should have did more of that. Get out the backfield, do a couple spin moves. He gets upfield, get a couple yards. We good like that. Now, he'll get stuff in the short yard game, right? In the short down the distance. But, however, he was a little bit smarter. He was a little bit more articulate. He was reading the holes. He was trying to, of course, be that 3-down running back. That's what we wanted him to be. In his first year, he had over 1,000 scrimmage yards, but then he dealt with injuries after that. So, I think with that dual back system, Kareem Hunt has a role. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's the 4th wide receiver, the 5th wide receiver. He's going to be doing everything that he did last year for us, I think. He's going to be at fullback sometimes. He's going to line up at tight end. But if we get a healthier version of him, because he's not going to be the main target, and you do have a healthy Rashid, you have Worthy healthy, and then you also have Hollywood healthy as well, too, and he goes into the season and he plays all those games, Juju is not going to have to do as much. And when he does get his number called, he make plays. He can still be that guy who find himself in the middle, get the ball, and then move up to get upfield. We saw him do that a couple of times late in the season. That's going to be meaningful. That's what we wanted to see more of Justin Watson. At times, Justin Watson wasn't supposed to be a number 2 receiver. That was supposed to be MVS, Tony, and Rashid when they was there. It didn't work out, and he had to step up more. But I think with these guys right here, I'm just here for the ride. I should have never left after 2022. He's like, I'm coming back again. Because right now, with him, with how people look at him as well, too, he aged quickly. But people fail to realize that he came in at 20 years old. Mm-hmm. He's been a vet for a long time. That's why he hunk at a young age. If he would have came in at 22, 23, he would be 30 about now, with his 8 seasons. He came in pretty early. So I think he knows that it's smart for him. I'm on the later part of my career now. I've been in the league for 8 years. I didn't deal with significant injuries. I didn't came back and I did my part as well, too. I can go ahead. No one's going to give me a $20 million deal no more. No one look at me as a number 1. He had his time with Pittsburgh, and then also he had that 1 year with us where he had his final years as the number 1 receiver. So I think this signing for them, he's going to be out there. He's going to, be able to be a part of what we were supposed to have last season. And I think he's just going to add just more value in areas where, okay, we got another intermediate guy, right? We already got Rashid Rice, who is already doing it well, but we got basically his backup who can do it as well, too. Xavier Worthy, he can fly, right? Hollywood Brown, he can fly as well. So, and then you got Omenihu at the return specialist where, he'll find himself in certain packages at certain times if he want, because we want to utilize his skill set, because we wanted to see him more before he got injured his rookie season, because he looked on fire. And more than likely, we're probably going to find a wide receiver in the draft and just fill him in right that. But Scott Moore working out again. I don't know. He looking good. And always looking good in the offseason. Can you just carry it over? Because really will be good, right? We wouldn't have to worry about wide receiver if you were Justin Ross, just step up. I think that's why they signed Juju as well, too, because if we get him in, that's 4. I think we're going with 6. We're done with that 7 wide receiver, right? And some guys will be in the practice squad. We okay with that. Scott, Justin, if y'all can just really, Clint, I want you to think about it, because I know you're ready to give your thoughts on it. How many receivers do you see on the offense, every wide receiver, 4 or 5? How many guys you see of them actually get 1,000 yards?
Out of the 5 that we'll have, or just like
in general for any team, out of their 6 wide receivers, only 2 for sure. If you got a good duo like the Bengals, the Vikings,
I'd say that. I'd say at best case, even your number 2 wide receiver is like 800 some yards, and it wasn't even
Exactly.
that close to 1,000. So
Exactly.
the Chiefs were just lucky that one year where Travis had 1,000 and Tyreek had 1,000, and was it some running back? Or we had another 1,000 on that team too. So like it's possible, but you also have to be the stars, and it's spread out among position. It doesn't seem like the Chiefs just have 6,000 yards of passing and all of them go to the wide receivers.
Exactly. Right. So we you know, we don't need much for real. I'll be honest. Y'all want me to say the truth, because you just see me get like this every offseason. My optimism is just like when you start thinking about it, when you have, but that's why I like when we start filling out the roster, because I'm not one of those who can really guess too much. I know who we might be after, who we're going to get, like position wise, the first couple picks, but after that, it's like I gotta see the rest that's going to get filled out. I can't believe I'm talking myself into this. I'm cool with Scott Moore just being at 5. Shit, I'm sorry, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Because in 2022, it wasn't like it was horrible. It's just I feel like we put him in a bad position with the punt return where he wasn't really great. He was more of a pick. Yeah, you pressure. Know. It's like too much, because you came in during a time where we needed. Tyreek Hill just left. That pressure went on him immediately, because we went with him number 2. Probably should have went with George Pickens. Just gonna say that could have happened. But
and MVS had that same pressure on him to be as fast.
He got the 3-year deal, and Juju didn't get the 3-year deal.
Yeah,
that was crazy. So, I mean, with the top 3 guys, with those guys, we know Rashee Rice. He was projected to be getting 1,700 yards last season. Xavier Worthy, he showed you he got about like 800, like 6 or 7. I think he got up to 8, if I'm not mistaken. He can be a 1,000-yard receiver. And then we already know Hollywood Brown had a 1,000-yard receiving season before with Lamar Jackson, who is not even primarily a throwing quarterback like that. So we know what we get out of them. They're all healthy. We're not asking the last 3 to do much. Just come in, be a part of that, do your routes, run your routes, be a DeMarcus Robinson. Right. Juju can be a better version of DeMarcus Robinson. Like, you wasn't number 1. So you playing in that role, I'm fine. And we was talking about getting him back. So you be that, Sky Moore, Remigio, y'all be all right. And I'm going to be honest, I wanted to see more of Remigio at wide receiver, so we good right there. So I think these signings right here really helped out a lot, and I think they just wanted to place these guys in position to where they filled up, we good, all right, and we can go into the draft and get younger like that. Let's bring back the guys that we want, and we know that can actually fit into the system, fill in them holes, and then everyone else, we'll figure it out as while we go through the draft. And you got to think about those June and August signings that you have as well too, after some guys are cut. So you got more of that.
So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, except maybe you didn't know that you were hitting it. For me, I think Juju at this point is our Rashee Rice stand-in for however long it takes for him, number 1, to come back from his season-ending injury. So he may not be quite ready to perform week 1 as we'd like him to. So he can step in. So Juju can step into that role. And if Rashee Rice, that his suspension ever happens and he needs to continue to sit out for those games, Juju can account for that. And we know that, Juju is good for a 100-yard game here or there on a whim, but eventually just kind of tapers out. But I like the fact that he signed back with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have a good relationship with him, because I think they know how to handle his injury situation well. All the other teams that he's been with, mostly the Patriots and his time with the Steelers before that, they haven't really known how to handle his injuries, or they kind of just push all the pressure onto him. And then eventually his body can't handle it, and he just kind of tapers out. Whereas the Chiefs are able to sprinkle in his targets, couple this game, sit out this game, be a main target this game, just get one and done here. They're able to kind of keep his usage up. And like you said, line him up in different positions, mostly be a blocking wide receiver, which he's good at as well. And he's young. He's a 20-year-old in the league. So think about that. He's not even 30 years old yet, and he's been around the league for so much already. And I think that his experience and the reliability that he has, where like Mahomes will throw the ball up, Juju will find his way underneath it if he's open and can get to it. So I'm a fan of the signing, and I think you're dead on. I think Juju could have had through his renaissance of a career, if he never left us and was just willing to do these 1-year prove-it deals, like how Hollywood Brown was matched signing this year as well. I think, unfortunately, that's kind of where the Chiefs are best at in this situation when it comes to bringing in receiving talent, except for when they hit in the draft. And they were hoping Sky Moore would be a hit, who so far hasn't. But if he can just barely get on the field a little bit and catch a clutch third down one game, then that's all you need to like get confidence, and then you'll do it again 3 games from then, and then his usage will go further up than that.
Clinton, just 31, just get down, just do that. You good?
That's all Justin Watson need to do. I mean, what did he do last season except a 2-point conversion? I can't remember a single Justin Watson catch. So that's all Sky Moore needs to do. Just like fade into the background, and he's like, oh, he got 200 yards. Great. I didn't know there was 200 receiving yards to be given to Sky Moore.
For the Spotify user, y'all heard a lot of sounds. Basically, the sound we going inside. We doing basically the in and out, right? We going in. You know what we love in Kansas City. Go in, pivot right out towards the sideline, get the catch, get upfield, stay in bounds, get down, extend the drive in any capacity that we need it. That's all we looking for. Maybe some across the middle sometimes as well too. Take a couple hits. Put yourself back in the good graces of Chiefs Kingdom. Now, are we talking about you being here after, because we're not picking up the 5th-year option? You'll probably be available, but you might couldn't do the same thing as Clyde. If you had this last season where you come in, do your part, right? All right, catch the ball. Boom, boom. You showing what you need to do, right? We'll probably pick you up that next year just to be like, he's a filler on the back end. We know we can have that. We just make sure we have our first 3 to 4 starters set up, and then the rest of the guys, we know they fit in where they fit in. We have that trust with them. So it's gonna be fun, Like I think we made some good points. It's gonna be good. Juju.
I think you also said that the Chiefs are probably going to pick a wide receiver in the draft. I foresee that happening as well, just because they can't help themselves. If there's a weapon, especially one that gets to work with Patrick Mahomes directly, like Rashee Rice did a couple years ago, which Sky Moore did not have the luxury of. Maybe if this consistent thing of pair the wide receiver with Patrick and get the firsthand experience and then take him, versus just he looks good on tape. If that's the formula, we may have something here. I don't think Xavier Worthy got to really practice, but he was in Texas, so Mahomes maybe had another visual on him in the first place. And now I got to give my running back take. So I'm very glad that Kareem Hunt is back on the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's such a shame that arguably his peak, the prime of his career, was not in Chiefs uniform because of the mistakes that he made. And last year was meant to be the redemption story, and it didn't have the positive ending. But it's very obvious that he left a positive impression on the front office of Kansas City, enough to bring him back for another year, 1 year older. And surprisingly, Kareem Hunt having, the most, the most touches, or the most production he's had, throughout his whole career, just last year, in the kind of workload that he's handled at his age, and the fact that he thinks that he can come out and do it again. Or honestly, we hope that that's not the case, and Pacheco can stay healthy, and it can surely be like Pacheco is in, bruiser. Now here's Kareem Hunt, also bruiser. And then here's Elijah Mitchell sneaking out the backfield for a 70-yard wheel route. That's a touchdown. That's what the Chiefs are hoping for. But last year it became like Kareem Hunt was the bell cow. And the fact that he was able to kind of prove that at his older age, and his durability. I mean, he obviously got hurt, and it definitely looked like things were wearing on him, and his running was not as quick, but his toughness could not be denied. And I think the Chiefs Kingdom appreciated that and saw that his effort was still there. And I think Andy Reid appreciated that and said, I can't guarantee how many targets or touches you'll get, but if you put yourself in this running backs room, eventually there will be something for you. And whether it's completely dispelling Isaiah Pacheco, or straight up we're running back by committee again and you're just number 2 or number 3 in line, I think in any case, sets the Chiefs up for success in the backfield. And I also would not be surprised if there was like an undrafted running back that, just catches Andy Reid's eye, or Devin Neal can slip into the 5th round or something, just speaking things into existence. We'll just become a running team through and through. I heard somebody say, if you're going to bring back Trey Smith, you got to lead into Trey Smith's strengths, man. And that's running the ball inside. And the Chiefs have had good running backs who are able to do that. And Andy Reid has decided, let's stretch them over here. Let's draw a play over here. And not just letting them run right up the gut. And, maybe we'll see a shift. Maybe, especially with Jalen Moore as the left tackle now, maybe we'll see that kind of shift into interior rush, and then the outside is mostly about pass protection. But, that's projecting into the future, which you can't really see. So any other thoughts about the offensive signings that the Chiefs have made last week?
Not really. Just I think those were good deals. These were feelings that we already wanted, and that we just need. Let's go ahead and retain the guys that we had from last year, because either way it goes, as this offseason carries on, and when we get into the draft season as well too, depending on where we are drafting at in the draft, those first 4 rounds always are guys that's more than likely going to make that 53-man roster. So that's going to be filling up the other areas and filling in depth that we need. So guard, defensive tackle, end, those are things that still can be addressed. And I don't think you stop with the offensive line as well either. So either way it goes, I think we'll be fine. I think they were nice, and I think it made sense. It made a lot of sense. So I'm okay with them. And I think majority of Chiefs Kingdom was okay with the signings as well too.
I'll have to throw in there, because he didn't get talked about and he wasn't thrown in this segment, but he's technically an offensive player. The Chiefs also brought in Gardner Minshew as a backup quarterback, and he was big enough to get a press conference appearance as one of the major guys that was brought in, including James Winchester re-signing. But, that's neither here or there. So the Chiefs figured that Gardner Minshew signing was big enough for us to talk about.
We did it for Carson.
Include it in here, so.
We did it for Carson, like you see how we're going with the backup quarterbacks now. OGs who y'all had y'all moments. Y'all had great moments, and you'll be great back. We love those type of players. Chad Henne didn't have the greatest career, but he was a starter, and he threw like 58 touchdowns and 63 interceptions before getting with us. So it's like you did enough. Like you slayed it at some point. And you saw the Matt Moores of the world as well too, so it makes sense. That's why it makes sense. It was basically Carson. We done. Let's come in, but we'll see. Who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows?
Nah, man. I just had to throw him in there just because he had to make his appearance. So hopefully he'll be a chill guy and can get Patrick hyped up for the games or whatever the case his job will be. So let's go ahead and move on to our final topic of the day, which, of course, we talked about the offense. So now it's time for the defense. And the most notorious thing that we've just had happened last night as we're recording this, that Charles Omenihu is returning to the Chiefs. And also defensive tackle Jerry Tillery was also signed last week to bolster up the defensive line. What are your expectations for both of these players in 2025?
Expectations for Charles Omenihu, play the full season. No, I mean, you'll probably have some sores, some boo-boos, some injuries that you need to go get in the ice bath about. But I think for you, it's just proving that you can play the entirety of the season and also the postseason as well too. You arrived for the first season because you had that suspension. So, but that's still availability is the best ability. He wasn't there. And then that next season coming after that as well too. And also along with that, you got, was it that year he got hurt? Or I believe that was the year he got hurt and then he was out for, I'm trying to think. 2023 he came in, right? Yeah, 2023.
Charles Omenihu got hurt in the AFC
championship game. Yep. And then it kept him out for a majority of this last season that just happened. Right. Correct. I was putting him in 2022 for some reason. But yeah, you didn't get no full seasons with us. So I think the Chiefs respectfully said, like, here's a proven deal right here. We would love for you to stay on this roster because keep in mind, I don't think we keep on talking about defensive tackle as well, too. We know Charles Omenihu is technically a hybrid as well. So they feel like they're going to put him there a lot as well, too, throughout the season where they have a lot more pass rush guys as well because they feel like they can do everything. So I think bringing him out just be healthy the whole season because we know that you're great on the edge with getting after the quarterback. You have a great sense of urgency of, you know, course swiping at the quarterback and getting those forced fumbles as well too. That's become a signature thing that you have done. Hey, to do that, I think you will earn yourself the contract that you've been looking for, but you have to be healthy for the entirety of the season. I think people are seeing the skill set. I think they're seeing the talent. They just need to see that you're going to be reliable when they need you out there for 17 games, you know, and then going into the postseason, the next 3 games after that, or 4, depending on where you're actually, if you get the bye or not. And for Jerry Tillery, he's an AFC West guy.
Mm-hmm.
We all, I think, in ways like to take from each other with guys that they let go and feel like they just fit the scheme of what we have going on. His frame, if you look at him, I saw it. Not all the way Chris Jones, but kind of similar. He's not like big like your Pinnell and a Noddy. He's kind of slim, got the height, and he can get after the passer as well too. Occasionally, but he's also good within the run stop game as well too. He played with the Vikings last season, so I think Jerry Tillery, he's going to be a rotational guy that we're used to having, and I think we're going to find another guy in the defense in the NFL draft as well too that can be a part of that rotation. And like I just said, Charles Omenihu, who we resigned again, he gets Tom in the inside as well. And then who knows? You still got Mike Pinnell out there, and you know he like to sign late towards once camp about to start. They probably figure out the rest of what they have to see if they can give him something to get him back in, because I think he got signed after the draft last year. So I think with defensive line, that's why they're not tripping as much. And we got to remember, they be telling these guys this as well too, the ones who probably not going to get big contracts. Wait for this, we give you a call around this time. You know, we if you be there, we got you. And they probably got that in the back of their head already. So I with that signing, depth for sure, but I think they were ready to move away from Noddy and some of those older guys. And the Turk, I know you said that if we did those restructures early on, maybe we could have. I don't know, 18 mil a year next to 30 mil. It's not bad, you know. I like it. You know, I would want it, but it just seems like the not so cheap things that they want to do. You know, they like to be cheap in certain areas. We pay all out because Chris Jones, he's moving around. He's showing like, I'm worth it. I'm going to go to the edge. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to move all around. I'm going to line up against all 5, depending on the time of the game. It don't matter. You know, everybody else, we just need y'all to come in, be a clog in the middle, you know, not let those gaps be open, not get pushed backwards, be a big key in that run stopping game. And that's what Noddy and Pinnell was. But as they're getting older, they want to get fresher. That's why they go get a Jerry Tillery, a little bit younger, who got somewhat of that frame, a little bit more athletic as well too. Let's go get somebody in the draft that can go ahead and do that. We see the Jalen Carters in the world show out. Who knows? Maybe we can sneak one at 31 who comes our way. Who knows? Move up if we really like them that much, depending on where they fall in that as well too. I think they're in certain areas they're going young, and that's why they could have been comfortable with Justin Reed leaving with Jaden Hicks stepping in as well. Who knows? Because we still haven't tried to even address that yet. But I like it. Those my expectations for them for this season. Just be able to do their part. Be able to win. Charles, do what you do, but stay healthy. Jerry, be a rotational guy. Go ahead and clog up that middle. Be able to get some sacks at opportune times as well too, and take advantage.
I agree with a lot of what you said. One thing I will counter on before I give my opinion about both is Turk Wharton is 2 years younger than Jerry Tillery. So Jerry Tillery is on his 3rd NFL contract right now. And yes, he's been around the AFC West, so that also leads to some experience in his favor, but it doesn't help that he's 2 years older as well. So, you know, I at this point, I'm expecting both Jerry Tillery and Charles Omenihu to be the starters. And that's until I see a draft pick that, impresses and pushes them out of those starting spots at some point during the season or before the season as like this, aha moment the Spags has that this is a solution. I like the Jerry Tillery signing. I like the player. You think he's rotational? I think at this point he is defensive tackle 2, because all of the defensive tackles the Chiefs had last year, other than Chris Jones and Mike Pennell, who just sits on the practice squad most of the times, is out. So if the Chiefs are going to play in a base defense, they're going to need another defensive tackle on the field anyway. So I think Jerry Tillery becomes that until the Chiefs draft a player who they prefer instead to play all the time, like they ended up doing with Tershawn Wharton. Even though we had Derek Nottie on the team, they got a younger guy and chose Turk for a little bit. Obviously they didn't pay him, but that's the idea, is that the Chiefs will find the younger guy. And if it's, 1-to-1 comparison, they're going to go younger just to let the experience rail in. And then for Charles Omenihu, I think, this is his redemption year. He didn't get quite the send off last year, and a lot of it was playing catch up. So now he can come in fresh in 2025, much like Hollywood Brown is, and is able to kind of attack the season without having some lingering things from last year. And I think at this point, there's higher expectations on Charles Omenihu than Jerry Tillery for sure. And I think at this point, arguing whether or not Felix has made the big step that he needs to, Charles is defensive end 2 as well on the other side of George Karlaftis. And I don't know if that, is necessarily a good thing. I don't, hate the idea, but since we did not get kind of the experience last year that we should have, I'm just kind of a little apprehensive about, how much he will end up contributing next year. Like I said, he's set to be a starter, but having had major injury 2 years before and trying to come back from that, it seems like it's only a matter of time before something happens and you get it the other way. Obviously not rooting for that, but just, the Chiefs were willing to bring in some veteran defensive line presence. But I think all of us and front office is well aware that majority of their kind of patching and solution is going to be in the draft. They're going to find the young players or two that fit what they like to do, their scheme. May or may not take them a round higher up than is projected, and all of it will still work out in the end. So those are just kind of my basis thoughts. I think at this point, these are expected starters, but the draft picks are also expected to come in and make an impact in training camp and steal the spot outright. Take a grown man's job, as Pacheco called it.
Yeah. And I feel what you're saying. Like when I say defensive two, like how you said Jerry Tillery, he's gonna be like defensive two, right? Primarily that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the Chiefs, in my opinion, it's not that they're not defensive tackle too, right? I just think we're traditionally it's like you're just rotating because at times Chris Jones is gonna go out. You're gonna have to come back in anyway, take over those reps as well. But I don't even think you even mentioned Mike Dana at all, did you? Right? Really?
Oh, no, I did not.
Really, is George Karlaftis DN1, Mike Dana DN2. Chris Jones, defensive tackle 1, and then Charles Omenihu, defensive tackle 2. However, Charles Omenihu can go to the outside. He can't be a DN. People forget, really, like he would. It's like he's a hybrid as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, Chris Jones literally just came in as a defensive tackle, but we saw like he really has pass rush ability, and he was a DN because we read that 3-4-3-5 system when Bob Sutton was here. That's why you see he stayed in the inside, but technically he was on the outside when we ran the 3-5, and you had Justin Houston and Tom Holly on the outside because they were the edge rushers. But it's like, bro, you can play DN like technically. You're going after the quarterback as well, too. That's where Yeah, so now we're in this 4-3 base, but we like to do a lot of 4-2-5 because we want to have our additional secondary. We want to have additional DBs out there. For instance, Christian Fulton. That's why, like, he's primarily going to be on the outside if we're going to do a lot of that, right? But when we go into base, no, we're going to rock with Jalen Watson and, of course, Trent McDuffie because we feel like they are our best defensive backs that's on the team. So when you put it out there, it's like, you see what I'm saying? It's like Mike Dana's really DN too, but you do see more Charles, Omenihu, and they will rotate them all everywhere.
Yeah,
and
I didn't think about Mike Dana. I'm sorry, Mike Dana. Sorry to disrespect you. Brought back for a 3-year contract last year, so $8 million for Mike Dana, up to $7 million for Charles Omenihu. So you got $15 million to what you think is your defensive end number 2, and then George Karlaftis. What is this? His 3rd NFL season now.
2021. They came in right. Let me think. They came in 2022. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about picking up their 5th-year options and stuff soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So at this point, this DN1 is firmly George Karlaftis' spot.
Yep. This ain't 4th season. Yep.
I think we may be having a conversation about George here in a couple of years, and it's like the same conversation we just had about Tershawn Wharton happening with George Karlaftis. Like, he was the perfect player and everything, but was he worth a certain amount of money? Spagnuolo inflated him, made him look better, and then he moves on to the team. So that's my fault for not including Mike Dana in that defensive line. However, all of us still felt like the room was not filled up enough, and at least we brought back someone who the Chiefs are familiar with, and someone who the AFC West and the Chiefs in general are familiar with, and in terms of playing against, now get to see what he's like to contribute to their locker room instead of on the other team. So, but it's clear that you and I both think that they're not done. There's still a lot more internal moves and most likely draft picks coming to bolster another spot or two, or to take a spot that we assume belongs to somebody already.
Yeah. We just need more depth. And we keep Felix too. Could this be a breakout backup year from him? Because he's been getting more pressures, been doing his job of course, setting the edge as well too, not really allowing him much outside. I think they feel like we have a lot of people we can grind with. They did it more. We just feel like we need someone elite to match with George,
right?
We want our second DN to be more so elite, because if you do put Charles Omenihu in the inside, you have Jerry Tillery rotating with them as well too. That's a perfect defensive line.
But I think when it goes into your point about how we like to rotate defensive linemen, to some degree, they can only do certain positions. Like, you're not going to ask Felix to rush inside. That is not his body type or play style. He is a direct edge rusher. George Karlaftis is the perfect defensive end for Spagnuolo because he's that big, lanky guy who will knock down a pass, who's big enough for a 4-3, but still has that quickness to get around the edge or the inside. But Felix is a straight up only around the edge guy. Charles can do a little bit of both, but Charles is better at that, like, wraparound swipe strip sack that we talked about last season. So it's like, to get certain players with certain skill sets and just let them do that versus finding these, like, jack of all trade players who's so good that you pay him everything. You just have to keep spreading out the snaps and the money given out to accommodate those skill sets.
Right. So, yeah, it's just, when you think about it, it's not too much difference of a defense. Really, what we have to do, all it is, I think, honestly, with these guys, we got to get pressure off front four. Y'all got to be able to get pressure on your own at times. Seriously, if you're able to do that, that's going to help out the back end a lot more, especially with us having a young safety who's more likely who's going to have this. Who we have as a starter right now, Jaden Hicks and Brian Cook.
I was just going to say, just make that one of my final points. The fact that the biggest question mark right now is still secondary. I mean, Christian Fulton's is a pure corner and will play only the corner position. But the secondary, we just let Justin Reed walk out the door. Our safety room is the most question marked one, and we did not bring in any veteran depth behind it. So either that's saying there's a lot of pressure now on Jaden Hicks to take that spot, or the Chiefs may be targeting someone in the secondary in the upper rounds that we don't know about, and we might have that decision to come. Because I was going to say the safety is now kind of the biggest red flag if there is one. Offensive line can still be there. Defensive line still has, missing some depth, but they're throwing resources at it. Safety, they've negated resources at now after the last couple of years of being willing to give out a pretty decent chunk size contract to a safety who can be that secondary leader. So either the Chiefs have a lot of faith in Jaden Hicks, or they may be, have a target on their board in the upper round that they think can
and that could be it too. Because I think we like Jaden Hicks. What we saw him do with George Pickens, how he played out there, was able to fill in and take advantage of his opportunities as well too. He did a great job. So I think like maybe let's not wait on this. Let's go ahead and take advantage of this now. And he was healthy last season as well too. He was great in special teams. He had some big plays. He had couple interceptions as well too. So, they're like, I think he learned a lot from Justin Reed. And the release, and well, not even a release, but letting go of Justin Reed, it wasn't a shot towards him, but that's how it's been for us. We let our safeties play out their deals. We know that you're solid. We help you all get a chance to play elsewhere. Justin Reed was able to get one more contract. Tyron didn't have that opportunity because he was already 32 when he left. He came into us at 29. I think Justin Reed came into us at 26, 27. So he's still early 30s, late 20s.
Dale, you might have to help me on this timeline here, and we're going off topic to end the show. That's what we do. We always love going long to ramble about stuff. Was Eric Berry still on the team when Brett Veach was the general manager?
No, because he was here in 2018. No, did Brett Veach take over in 2018? I think he did. GM, he left. Yeah,
so
I think he left.
So Eric Berry was on our team, but I believe that was the day-to-day season where he did not make an appearance on field at all. So at this point, Brett Veach has not chosen to retain one of his own safeties. He's always gone into the free agency market and plucked one that's been good enough to be a leader for a little bit while he tries to find one internally.
So So Veach, he became GM July 10th, 2017. The reason why I know this vividly, y'all, because I went to UCM, Digital Media Productions. I was there. That's my major. We went up to Arrowhead Stadium. We did a tour with BJ Kissel around the stadium. We met Pete Sweeney and all of them, right? We leave Brett Veach. No. BJ Kissel, he leaves our meeting, right? He leaves our meeting where he shows us around. Something big happened. I get in the car, radio come on. Andy Reid got that extension, and then Dorsey was gone, and we go ahead and moved up Brett Veach as his GM. So that next year in 2018, they go with, they let Alex Smith play his last season. And then we go with Patrick Mahomes. Eric Berry did come back that year because he played in the AFC Championship game. When I know this, Clinton, I watch it because I go to the spot on Fridays and they be having the YouTube games up. Like they be on YouTube and playing old games. I was like, dang, Eric Berry was in that game. I miss you, bro. I think you'll be perfect right now, like with what we got going on. He would love Spags. I think he would love Spags. Now we just rambling now. He would love
Eric Berry making a return as a 36-year-old corner safety or defensive backs coach. What are you thinking here?
Huh?
Eric Berry gonna make a comeback at 36? Is that what you're thinking?
Nah, he'd be a coach. I
what
think he
crazy story, bro. Like, just stops being on the team in 2018. He's completely out of football. Like,
he never even officially retired.
Were such an anomaly. Like, if the pieces of 2017 could have just fell a little bit sooner, 2018 could have just been this miracle year, and everything was sunshine and rainbows and then everything great, and then COVID and all the stuff to happen. But just something to think about. I was like, Brett Veach, I don't think he's chosen to retain any of his safety yet. I mean, he let Juan Thornhill walk, and any other safety he's brought in has been a veteran one off the free agent market. So maybe Jaden Hicks can be that guy, or in any case, Brett Veach likes taking safeties, and Spags likes utilizing them in the nickel and blitz packages and all that. I completely agree. Eric Berry is the greatest safety of Chiefs history, and we're rambling because we want him to come back in some capacity.
Y'all gonna stop playing with my dog Greg Wesley like that? Nah, he was trash. Nah, he was alright. He wasn't great like that. Nah, Eric Berry, bro. If he didn't get that cancer, for real, I think it would have been a different story. Now, that doesn't take away from him being an injury body type of individual, but at his best, really, Tamba Hali, Justin Houston, Eric Berry, Derek Johnson, they deserved Patrick Mahomes that year before. But that year of him sitting out was worth it though, because look what you got now.
Or just said in 2017, Pat, you really proved yourself against the Broncos. Let's put you in the wild card, or struggling. Let's fill in the job. Let's see if you can get us through the rest of this Titans game. Then we wouldn't have any bad Titans.
Now, that would be crazy. Pat come in wild card game, he go crazy. This is crazy. This really happened. Alex Smith, you're really done for. Divisional game. What? We're at the AFC Championship game? Okay. Super Bowl. Oh, that means we would have had to beat the Eagles 3 times in the Super Bowl.
save the
because that would have been the year. And Brother X don't like that. He an Eagles fan. So he would have hated that. They wouldn't have had no chips until this year, technically, if that would have happened. Well, they probably that Nick Foles story was kind of crazy. Storylines be something else.
Well,
go ahead. No, for real, before you go off, say what you was rambling. Like, this is fun. This is what happens when you're on an afternoon show. Honestly, you just say whatever you want to say. What's up with that quarterback series? How you feel about that? Why Kirk Cousins is on there again?
I think just because there's storylines behind him and the fact that he's still there, I think is like the main reason. That's basically it. I mean, they know that he's not the starter, but he's a very high paid backup, and Atlanta can't afford to get rid of him, or at least they aren't willing to afford to get rid of him.
They can't.
So it's more for like, what's the chaos in the Falcons locker room? I'm sure that's what it is. They did Desmond Ritter 2 years before that, he was still the starter there. So same.
I think it'll be about the past season though, because you remember with Mahomes, it was about the year that we won in 2022.
Oh, well, that's why it was like, Kirk's going to be the star of the year. Oh, JK, he was benched. All right, well, it's still good TV. It doesn't have to be a good story for him. It can still be good TV for people.
Good TV though. Joe Burrow though, I want to see that Batman car. I do want to see that. I'm not gonna lie. And Jared Goff. Yeah, that's gonna be Detroit. They was turned all year though. I'm not gonna lie. They had
a heartbreaking ending that'll be.
All right, yeah. Yep, Mahomes gonna have to do it again so he win the Super Bowl on it again. He's the only quarterback to do it again, Super Bowl, and on quarterback season. What position are they can do that? It's gonna be fun. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. I just wanted to see. I just wanted to say that because that's about to come out soon.
No, Brother X, we did not win the Super Bowl. The Eagles did. But thank you for listening.
Don't entertain him.
Thank you for listening to our Chiefs-centric podcast and being here live with us start to finish, unlike some of the other Chiefs Kingdom that could have joined us but didn't. So, I got to provide a shout out where loyalty is, whether or not it makes sense or is on brand for us. It doesn't matter. I still got to show love and support where it is dished out. So thank you for watching us live. And for everybody else now, thank you for watching, tuning in to this episode of Gridiron Gambit. Now, after we are officially done, hope you enjoy the rest of March Madness. I know I won't because my team is out of it, and lots of Chiefs Kingdom teams are out of it as well.
Yeah.
But and if that's too bad, you got less than a week, and you got Royals baseball to pick back up. So if you thought this offseason the Chiefs content was over, there's still storylines to talk about. We like other sports as well. We're not just Chiefs robots. Any final thoughts, Dale?
Yeah, bro. We need Calvin Cambridge. That's it. Y'all know. Y'all see it in the chat. That's it.
We need the shoes, bro. We need the shoes.
What shoes would it be? What, some Spaldings? Not no Spaldings. Hold on, Riddell.
Definitely Patrick Mahomes' signature sneakers, Dale. Obviously, those are passed out to each and every player, and they have their own personal, like the kind where they have the Space Jam special water dished onto every single pair of shoes. So that way they've been magictized.
Well, if you're trying to go for greatness, maybe Tom Brady, maybe embody not loving your family to have success. All right, I'm done. We just talking now, and we will talk other sports, man. Remember, we got a lot of stuff coming for y'all. Don't worry about that. We got some special things coming that's going to be interesting that Lonnie is going to be introducing to us very soon.
That's right.
It's going to be fun.
So we have other things. If you want an Eagles channel, you could check out an Eagles channel. But if you want Chiefs or just our opinions on sports, then you can listen to us. I mean, in any case, hope you all enjoy this weekend coming up, this spring break that's coming and going. Hope you all enjoy that time. If you're off work or spending time with family, enjoy that. But in either case, enjoy yourselves. And as always, go Chiefs.
Thanks for checking out this update straight from the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We appreciate your passion, so please leave a like and follow us wherever you tune in from. See you next tailgate, your trusted source for all things Chiefs. Red Kingdom Media.